How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Solana update. Now, it's not the sort of video that I want to be making. As you saw by the title, the bulls and the whales of Solana have one last opportunity to save the bull market structure. Now, let me remind you why this level of support is so vital to hold. It's the previous double bottom, macro double bottom neckline. We saw Solana dump down to the level of sub $100 this cycle in 2025. And there was an incredible recovery all the way to $250. Along that journey, a double bottom was formed, and to actually get up to 250 in the first place, the neckline had to be broken. And you can see there's a lot of fake outs and failed supports in this area. This was the true level of resistance that needed to turn into support. And once it had done so right over here, as we go across, you can see it was held as support. The previous resistance where we saw dumps from now acted bullish. Previously, we saw multiple fake outs, but from here, we saw the pump to 250. This actually did not complete the pattern, but it was on its way to complete it. And the last couple of months have been spent dumping back down to that neckline. And that's why it's so vital to hold, because if you want this pattern to play out, which would actually take Solana to 200, 300, 400, 500, and maybe even $600, this needs to hold. So without this area holding, those targets, forget about them. So that's why it's so important. The Fibonacci's also prove this as a fact. If we look to the left, going back to 2024, when Solana was caught in a range before putting in that new all-time high, just sub $300, it created a range where each time it pumped into 180 to 194, it fell from this area. So acting as the range high in the situation, dumping back into the range lows. But once that area had broken and turned into support, you can see a new all-time high was created, but also meeting these Fibonacci targets. So that's thanks to the 786 and 886 breaking. Going to the right and where we are currently, that's $230 and $240. So we also need to make it back up there as a minimum to see whether it will break. Because previously to the left, you can see it can pump up into that area and still go down lower. So a pump up into there is not necessarily bullish unless it's actually taken out. So to even get to that point in the first place, we need this key level of support holding up. Remember, everything changed when this flipped into support. Previously, look where it's dumping down to. If you want to see $100 or sub $100, then by all means, let the support get lost, flip back into resistance, because that's exactly what's going to happen. That would then suggest that this bullish double bottom was all a fake bullish structure, that this breakout was a false breakout, and that it's heading back to the lows, potentially forming a triple top, or just from here, a double top, and going into a bear market. So we really need to see Solana reversing exactly from here and taking out $230 and $240. Over the last few updates, I've been saying that, unfortunately, the primary path is meant to be bearish when all the key moving averages and supports are being lost. But over the same videos, I was saying there are some micro bullish patterns forming over here. If you can see this W double bottom right over here, the neckline is broken, taking it up back to the range high. And in fact, that range high over here is a neckline of another double bottom. But unfortunately, it couldn't take advantage of breaking out to send it back up into that area. And by breaking out of that area, you can see the targets. And in actual fact, guys, so long as this previous range is 180 to 195 holds, which is where we are currently right now, so long as that holds, all these targets should get met, so 500. But by getting up to those price points and these price points, those targets, you'd also be breaking out of another Fibonacci's 786 and 886. And that is how Solana could get up to $600. So there's so much importance on this key level. It really needs Bitcoin to pump from here. Otherwise, we're losing major bull market support. And previously, when this level did not hold up, it went sub $100. When we were failing to break out of this resistance, it was sending it back to $100. So you can see what the next move will be if this does not hold up. And I don't care what partnerships this has. I don't care if the ETFs are coming. I don't care about the fundamentals. All that matters is the dollar signs. And if they're going down, and we can clearly see that if this key level of support is lost, then there needs to be changes to the portfolio, each to their own. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you wanted to learn my strategy, use the links down below take action on this 30% discount while it lasts until Friday the 7th of November. This can be applied to my Discord, ebook, or one-to-one mentorship plans. So check them out and I'll see you over there.